So one of the biggest things that I wanted to do during Disney Week was give you guys the option between two movies and let you pick which one I reviewed. I threw out the poll on Instagram last night between Big Hero 6 and Oliver and Company, and it was a whatever to zero tie, or sweep I should say. You guys chose Big Hero 6. I've actually got quite a nice little story for you. So, Big Hero 6 holds a special place in my heart as it kind of marks the beginning of my interest in doing something like this. Way back in the Christmas of 2014, my grandfather gave us all some money. So I combined that with the rest of my Christmas money, and I went to Best Buy with my brother and was able to get 4 movies: Big Hero 6, Transformers Age of Extinction, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Captain America the Winter Soldier. Those 4 are kind of the original DVDs I've ever bought. Interestingly enough, I had no idea what was in this steelbook, and I was glad to discover that it had a DVD in it and not just Blu-ray, because at the time I didn't have a Blu-ray player. Another reason that I love Big Hero 6 is it comes in this little game here, Kingdom Hearts 3. I haven't finished it. I actually haven't really even started it. I think I did some of Agrabah, but I never kind of finished it. Something I want to do. And since we're in quarantine, and I'm not going back to work until probably June, maybe beginning of July, I guess Kingdom Hearts 3 will be what I do. So, enough about me, but that's just kind of like the origin of myself and why I want to do this and why I'm here talking to you today. So, without further ado, let's talk about the amazing film Big Hero 6. It's directed by Don Hall and Chris Williams. It's an animated family superhero film that stars Ryan Potter as Hiro Hamada, Jamie Chung, last seen as Chi-Chi in the awful Dragon Ball Evolution. She plays Gogo Tamago, Scott Adsit as Baymax, Genesis Rodriguez as Honey Lemon, Maya Rudolph as Aunt Cass, TJ Miller as Fred, Daniel Henney as Tadashi Hamada, Alan Tudyk, last seen if you follow my Instagram as K2SO and Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. I promise you we will get to Star Wars. Again, I need quarantine and social distancing to be up so I can have my good pal here to talk about Star Wars. And next up we have, Alan Tudyk plays Alistair Cray. Next up we have Damon Wayans Jr. as Wasabi, and finally James Cromwell, last seen as Captain Dudley Smith in LA Confidential over on Instagram. Another one that, as after Disney and Pixar week are done, I will be definitely talking about LA Confidential. One of my favorite kind of film noir movies, but I'll get into that. He plays Robert Callahan, and much like what's her name from Little Mermaid, I forgot to put who he plays in there. It has an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it should deserve a little higher, but that's personally just me. And that's not even from a nostalgia standpoint. It's just, this is a great movie. And off of a budget of $165 million, it made $657.8 million at the box office. That is a lot of money. Well earned. Based on a Marvel property, this is the first Disney film animated that brings Marvel into the animated world. I didn't actually know that when I got this, so it's interesting enough that I got 2 Marvel movies and apparently a third. I have looked into some of the characters of Big Hero 6. I haven't read any of it though, and that's something I want to do. But what I have watched is Big Hero 6, the series over on Disney. It's on Disney Plus right now. Very good series, if you ask me. So if you like this movie and you want to see more of these characters, I definitely recommend Big Hero 6, the series. What I love about this is the idea of taking unknown characters and making them into household names. Well, that's what Disney's good at. Big Hero 6. If I said it 7 years ago, back in like 2012, so that's actually 8 years ago, but if you said it back in 2012, people would probably be like, who? What's Big Hero 6? Nowadays, you'd probably find people who are like, hey, my kid watches that show, or my kids love that movie. Yeah. One of my nephews really likes the movie, so I haven't gotten any of my others to watch it yet. I might, and this is definitely one, when I have kids, I will definitely show them. Another thing that Disney is great at is showing versus telling. And what I mean by that is this. When Tadashi dies in the movie, spoiler alert, by the way, I probably should have just led off with that. But yeah, spoiler alert. Tadashi dies in the movie, and obviously Hiro is very upset about that. They're very close. There's so many scenes of them just like never separated. Hiro gets PTSD from his brother's death, and after being shut in for weeks, he thinks he might get an answer when one of his microbots is trying to get back to something. So Baymax follows it, and he's trying to get Baymax back so that people don't see him. But it's a giant, fluffy, marshmallow-looking guy walking down the street. You're gonna see him. So he follows it, and that makes him, I think, he has one of the best character arcs in a Disney film as well. When you see him go from this character who's rash and angry all the time. And I'll get more into that, but when you go from rash and, I'm going to do what I want, to, hey, maybe I should go to this college, to back to the whole shut-in, rash decision-making, doing whatever he wants. And then finally, working as a team with the others. All the other characters are great. Baymax is pretty adorable, but he's no Baby Yoda. The movie has an awesome soundtrack featuring Immortals by Fall Out Boy. Just kind of wanted to touch on that. From a factual standpoint, the voice acting is great, and it features another great performance from Alan Tudyk. Alan Tudyk is great. He's in Doom Patrol, he's in Harley Quinn, I already mentioned he is in Rogue One. Just so many things. And if you don't know what Doom Patrol is, it's a DC Universe exclusive TV show. I watched it on a whim when I had the service. It was interesting. Really good. Very weird though. Very, very, very weird. That's all I really have to say, other than talk about Robert Callahan. He's the villain of the movie. He's the guy in the kabuki mask. He's motivated though by the loss of his daughter through a project Aleister Crowley was running, and that makes Callahan kind of resentful towards Crowley. But Robert Callahan, I mean, come on, using a child's death to motivate your character is sad, and it's heartbreaking to think about, but if it works, it works. I gotta be honest with you. It works here. So, at an animation standpoint, I prefer this kind of 3D animation that they chose, and that they continue to choose with movies like Frozen and Frozen 2. They choose this crisper 3D animation now that they've kind of perfected it with Pixar, and can use it a little more. And that's another thing. A lot of people mistake things like Frozen and Big Hero 6 and Tangled for Pixar. Um, they're not. They're different companies. The only princess film that is Pixar is Brave. But other than that, if it's a Pixar movie, it'll clearly say Disney Pixar. So that's just kind of an easy way of looking at it. But again, a lot of these modern era Disney movies start to move towards 3D animation. I really prefer that. I really like it. I wasn't too sure how I felt about it because it throws in that confusion with Pixar. But be that as it may, it's still really good. And the last 2D animated movie, from what I can think of right now, I may be wrong, but from what I can think of, would be Princess and the Frog. Would be the last 2D animated one they've done. Things like Tangled, as I mentioned, Frozen and Frozen 2, Moana, those kinds of movies, they're starting to move towards this 3D animation. I really like it. I think it looks good, too. It makes your characters look a little more human-like, so that's always nice. And if they were to make sequels to, say, Hercules, if they were to make a Hercules 2, finally, they'd probably just kind of stick with the whole animation style that they went with back then in the 90s, so that 2D animation. But anyway, I'm going to give this film a 10 out of 10 and a Silver Shamrock. It's a perfect movie. And hats off to them for making something different than your typical princess fairy tale. You know, they really went out on a limb when they made Big Hero 6. And I think that their work shows in the movie. And I never really have anything negative to say about this movie. A lot of people ask me that question. No, I have nothing negative to say. So, for the last video of the day, I have made 4 videos today. 1 for Beauty and the Beast, 2 for each, well, not 2 per, 2 for each. 1 for a goofy movie, 1 for an extremely goofy movie, and 1 for Big Hero 6. I was planning on getting the Big Hero 6 one done since you guys voted for it, and seriously, thank you for voting. I was really torn between Oliver and Company and Big Hero 6 because I like both of them. And I think your decision, or you helping me make up my mind has helped me also spark the top 10 things to watch on Disney Plus that aren't kind of the popular ones. So you'll see things like that from the Disney Dark Ages. But until Aladdin tomorrow, I'm Luke, and I will see you guys later.